As the first week post-daylight saving comes to an end, I think we all feel that sense of wanting to hibernate. With less hours of sun and the temperatures dropping, we feel a sense of wanting to be curled up with a warm blanket, maybe going to sleep a little earlier, reading a book, getting cozy. I think that's natural. That's part of our biological felt sense, being attuned to nature and the weather around us. One of the effects of daylight savings, I would argue, and that desire to hibernate, is that we become a little bit more lethargic. We're more likely to procrastinate, to push things off, and try to get away with doing less. Yitzchak, in our Parsha this week, is an example of pushing and delaying things until circumstance requires him to do something. Vayomer hinei na zakanti lo yadati yom moti. Yitzchak is prompted to give brachot to his children, to Esav and to Yaakov, because he realizes that he's getting old. He's aging and death is approaching. Rashi comments about why specifically now Yitzchak became concerned with his own death. Lo yadati yom moti, he says, I don't know exactly when my death is going to be. Amar Rabbi Yoshua ben Karcha, im magia adam leperak avotav, yid'ag 5 shanim lifnehem ve5 shanim la'achar kein. Rabbi Yoshua ben Karcha says that if a person reaches the age of the death of his parents, he should worry 5 years before and 5 years after. And at this time, Yitzchak turned 123 years old, and he said that perhaps I will pass within the span of 5 years of my mother. And his mother, Sarah, as we know, lived until the age of 127, and now he was approaching within the 5th year of his mother's death. And so that caused him to be concerned. How long do I have left? When is my biological clock going to run out? And that prompted Yitzchak to take matters into his own hands with regard to bestowing his values to his children and building a legacy for himself. And so I think the point that Rashi makes here should cause all of us to appreciate that there's a natural tendency to postpone things, particularly those that are either difficult or not needed immediately, until with the passage of time they become urgent. And then those absolute necessary actions tend to demand our attention under less than ideal circumstances. And that's what happens to Yitzchak. He waits to give the bracha, and ultimately the pressure that he does this under limits his capacity to make prudent decisions. And he chooses between his sons, and that ends up being quite a debacle. If his sight had been better, he hadn't been blind, and his perception was sharper, then maybe he would not have put his children in such a precarious position by needing to sort of fight each other to be part of the covenant. And so it's generally better, as we see from Yitzchak, and less stressful to address matters sooner rather than later. And so I'll leave you with a question as we contend with our own instincts of procrastination and our desires to hibernate during the winter months. What important tasks are you deferring, and what's getting in the way, and what approach might you take to accomplish those things? Looking forward to seeing you all in Shul over Shabbos.